Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So, guys, please do subscribe to all three channels. Have the little bells click just in case you don't know. This over here, these little icons will take you directly to our website, to our Patreon, to our Ko-Fi. And if you're on Evolutionary, it'll take you to EEARTS. If you're on Heart's Home, you could go there too from Evolutionary and EEARTS. These little links are handy in case you haven't seen that before, and they're on all three channels. Okay, so we're going to talk about Krishna, but we're going to talk about a couple aspects of Krishna in particular. And really, again, while the guides have always said, we hope these stories are helpful for you. And that's the way they portray them, as stories. Things for us to, enjoy and maybe take some little gleamings of insight and knowledge and wisdom that we can, incorporate into our own lives. Not necessarily take legalistically, again, sometimes we have a tendency to get too dogmatic over things in general. It's kind of maybe a normal human thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think that's the way we look at it. We're humans, and these are beings that came here in a very special time, in a golden age, understanding that we were going to go through different cycles, different ways, understanding that we are going to see different times, and leaving us with knowledge that's going to help us through those times, help us grow. Definitely speak to our DNA, because our DNA extends beyond these physical bodies. So there's a lot of stories, the Bhagavad Gita, a lot of other books, and as you read them, this is speaking a lot to your DNA. So when I went in to get the information, when they said, we hope that these stories help you, it's just that. They are stories. They're not necessarily true in the sense where we're sitting here talking to you right now, and this is a true story. These stories, almost like Aesop's fables. I think that was probably one of my favorites. It taught life lessons, and it helped you grow and evolve. And that's what these books do.
Not that they're not based on factual things. Yeah, there are some facts, but that's not really the point. The point is introspection. Where can I see myself in these things? Where, maybe can I improve? What can I understand that I haven't understood? So here you see Krishna talking to Arjuna, and this is from the Bhagavad Gita, which is part of the Mahabharata. And I was actually just starting to go through. I have a fabulous picture book of the Mahabharata and also the Ramayana that we will share with you at some point in time, because it's just so well done. Some of the sayings that you've heard, maybe you haven't. Krishna attributed to Krishna. And again, Krishna is an avatar, is thought to be an avatar of Vishnu. Now, the reality is, Source is in all of us. The true God with the big G is within all of us. And the creator of this universe is in us too. We are imprinted with that creator's energy. And we have a direct line to that creator. And, again, it's just a matter of cultivating the connection, because, the creator is a benevolent being. It's full of love and compassion. As you see, what you're seeing here is Arjuna down on his knees saying, please, tell me, what am I supposed to do with some of the tough life lessons and some of the big decisions I'm facing? Guide me. And Krishna, you see Vishnu behind Krishna, is giving him some just golden nuggets, so to speak, of wisdom. He who has no attachments can really love others, for his love is pure and divine. And when you meditate on something like that, the question to ask is, do I truly love out of true love, or is it conditional? And again, is it conditional in different ways. Like, well, I love this person because they're good to me, or I love this person because I don't know what I would do without them, or do you love this person because you can feel the essence of that person? You know that they're a good soul. You have a fondness for them, an appreciation for them. You like them, and you also have this, something so much more that you feel towards them. And again, this is something to ask ourselves, as we got Sita kicking in, saying that she loves Rama more than Rama loves her. But again, the pups, they have their little ways. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by any fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Absolutely. And this was a statement he made before a battle. Again, saying, what are you afraid of? Because ultimately, you're not really going to die. And it goes into talking about how our bodies truly are like garments that we just temporarily wear. And then when it's time to move on, we move on. We discard them just like we would discard clothing that was worn out. And here is one that you may have heard. It sounds kind of biblical, does it not? O Arjuna, I am the self, indwelling in the hearts of all beings. I am thus the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings. In other words, the Alpha and the Omega. So what's that reference to the Alpha and the Omega? It's the self. It's self-realization. This is at the heart of Hinduism, of the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal wisdom, the eternal way, the eternal truth. And when we look to some of the sayings of Christ, like when Jesus is attributed to say, I and the Father are one, this is what he's referring to. I understand who I am. I am not the body. I am the soul. The soul is eternal. The soul is part of the unified field of consciousness. Thus, I am the Alpha and the Omega. And again, this is where, when you really look closely, you will see that everything that we get from the Bible is really another rehashing of what has come out of other traditions, and most definitely out of the Vedic tradition. Again, I am the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings. It's recognizing Source, the Creator, is in me. That's the real me. That's the real me, not this body.
Mm-hmm. Every bird, every creature, every animal, every blade of grass, every tree, it all has consciousness, and it has consciousness to a degree that you understand too. I think that's the most amazing thing about it, is a piece of fruit on a tree understands that it is. And that's really kind of hard to grasp unless you have been there and you were that fruit. But it's true. And when you get to see those things in the world, it is really amazing. And sometimes those knowings can really make you take a step back and think, wow, I thought I knew, but this is big and this is whole. But we all are, and we all come from Source, and Source is pure love. And this experience that we are having is that from Source. Source wants us to have this experience. And I know a lot of people, the Bible is a very important book, but the teachings, everything that I have ever read, and I've read always here in the Vedas, it's right here. This is where it comes from first. And everyone kind of walks through that spirituality or that understanding at their own pace. I think spirituality is the understanding of self. You do go through a lot of wisdom. You do have a lot of understandings. You do learn a lot of things. But spirituality itself is knowing who you are, what you're made of, what you can do, how special you really are, and I just have to step back when we talk about unconditional love. I know I've been on a very different path, and I've had quite a lot of trauma. So when I hear unconditional love, I'm like, I don't know about that, because I'm not going to let somebody beat on me or pick on me and then I'm going to let them love me or me love them, because I had to walk through that. part of things to understand unconditional love. I'm like, no, we all have certain things about us, but to really feel and see someone's true essence and know who they are and love them in the sense where, I think one of the most purest loves is parent to child, or even our pets, loving our pets. To me, that's a type of love that can be most encompassing and unconditional. You just love that being and they love you back. And when you come home and your dog wags his tail just as much every single day after day after day, your pup never gets tired of you. They know how to love sometimes better than I think people know how to love sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I think they do love us more unconditionally than we typically love them. So, yeah, those divine mysteries get explained, basically. So there's so many missing pieces when we look, quote unquote, biblically, that we see are completely explained in the Samatana Dharma. Now we're going to focus on two aspects of Krishna, and that is the youthful Krishna as the young boy, and Krishna also as the baby. Krishna is interesting because, was he the perfect little boy? He never did anything wrong. No, he was a naughty little boy. Now, don't you eat that. That's for your brother. That's for your father. What would he do? He would go ahead and start eating that. He didn't always obey too well. He was a little bit of the naughty side. Oh, yeah. He was naughty and he was playful. He was a practical joker. He was always about having a good time and having fun. And that's the aspect of things that he wants to get across to us. Is it's okay. We're not always going to be perfect, and we don't have to be quote unquote perfect. We need to be ourselves and accept ourselves for who we are, and we need to have fun and enjoy life. Because, yeah, absolutely, he was a little bit of a practical joker. He would sometimes do exactly the opposite of what his mother said, especially when it had to do with, maybe some yummy sweet temptations food-wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely showing that human side of him, very, very playful, and that's exactly how he is. Growing up, going through life, I'd seen a lot of pictures of Krishna and Yeshua, who many know as Jesus, together, and I thought that was curious. And some people have said, well, they're the same being. And that's definitely not what I've gotten. There are two very distinct beings, yet both have this kind of inner love about them and inner understanding that they share. So I would say they must be close to the same soul stream. And that's how I see things. I see people in the same soul streams. Like when Mike and I work on people, a lot of people are going through the same things we're going, and that's because we're in the same soul stream. We are seeing the same things, and consciousness is streaming by, and we're all kind of experiencing the same thing. And I think that's where they are. I think they're two separate beings, but from the same soul stream.
Absolutely. And you probably heard of Christ consciousness. Maybe you even heard of Krishna consciousness. And again, they are people that enjoyed their lives. They really, really did. And, Yeshua, he did partake of wine, and his favorite was red. And he did get married, and he was with Mary Magdalene. That was his wife, and they did have kids as well. We've gotten all that. So again, what we get from the controllers in the mainstream is not the reality. And yeah, Krishna is viewed as a special avatar of Vishnu. But what we get is, again, he is a distinct being from Vishnu. And yeah, again, he is one that is aware that Vishnu is in him. He's aware that the Creator is in him. He's aware of the eternal aspects of his self.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then when I look at people's guides and I talk with them and we talk through things, we have dominant guides, subdominant guides, angels, and ancestors is kind of what I've broken it down to. And these two, Krishna could definitely be someone, I would consider him to be someone's or many people's dominant guide, really.
Yeah, as you see this sly little look, Mom probably said, "Don't you eat those sweets?" No, okay, Mom. Mom turns around. There he goes. He's going to get those sweets.
Now I just have a question. Why was Mom? Seems like Mom was pretty lackadaisy, kind of letting Krishna do what he wanted.
She knew his essence and what a special person he was. So yeah, absolutely. He was perhaps a little bit, different. Pampered,
yeah,
in some ways. And the other thing too is the music. So he was fond of playing music. He was known as a shepherd boy, with cows. Yes. And so again, when you get that whole reference of Jesus as the shepherd of men, again, when we're talking about Krishna, most of the experts would say we're looking at about 3102, 3104 BC. As being when he left the world, and then the Kali Yuga comes in. So again, that's 5,000 plus years ago. We don't really know for sure, but that's just kind of an assumed date, which may or may not be accurate. It could be actually far older than that even. It's most definitely one of those things that remains hidden, but we do understand the cycle of the yugas. And so prior to Krishna, we had Rama, and it was thought that Rama was probably on Earth in the Silver Age, or the silver towards the bronze, where Krishna was more at the end of the bronze, and then when he leaves, the Kali Yuga starts. So could be pretty accurate that it was somewhere around 5,000 years ago. But again, so much that's been given to Christ in the biblical sense, you could find an awful lot of correlations with Krishna. And again, it's a much, much earlier dating again of time. So yes, known as the shepherd boy, but the cow shepherd boy. So this particular mantra is a good one to bring in that youthful enthusiasm. This is a good one for bringing in a little playfulness into your life, a little levity, a little festivity. And, it's pulling in the energy of Krishna. When I think of Krishna's energy overall, I think a happy, playful being that has a lot of love for life as well as overall compassion. So I always feel very, very heart-centered when it comes to Krishna, very heart-centered.
When you want to call in that Krishna energy, definitely, you're going to feel that heart-centeredness. You're going to feel that sense of play and that sense of enjoying life as life comes, and realizing that he kind of pulls you out of that serious space. It kind of like steps you back and don't take life so serious. This is something to be enjoyed, and it's that kind of energy. If you're feeling that kind of energy and kind of giddy and bubbly and happy, this is the type of Krishna energy. You could call him in for your own guidance if you think you're someone who maybe can take things too seriously sometime, or if you need some jokes in your life, if you need something funny going on, and just really enjoyment of the littler things. Krishna can really help with that.
Yes. So we're going to tell you how to do this, and then I'll actually play it for you to listen to, but it's not that hard. It's Govinda Hare Gopala Hare He Prabhu Dina Dayala Hare. And what this means, Govinda is a name for the youthful Krishna, literally Lord of the cows. It can be translated other ways as well. Hare now can be interpreted also as the name for Vishnu, or it could also be a name for the divine feminine, depending on how you interpret it. as you see, that also sometimes interpreted as a name of Radha. And Radha and Radhe. Radhe is, again, the feminine component. When we're talking about Lakshmi and Vishnu, and then their avatars, we see Rama and Sita, and that's our pups, and that's who they're named after, and Krishna and Radhe. And so Radha is divine feminine, and Radhe is the incarnation of the divine feminine as the counterpart to Krishna. So Gopala, name for the divine baby Krishna, literally shepherd of the cows. Hey is similar to hey in English. That's just for addressing someone. That's why you also hear, hey Ma Durga. Hey Ma is mom. And then Durga is kind of the accumulative energy of all the divine feminines put into one. Prabhu is just like Lord. And then Dina Dayala, the compassionate one, the savior of the poor. Daya is compassion. So we'll play this for you.
Govinda Hare Gopala Hare, He Prabhu Dina Dayala Hare.
And we've, in kirtan circles, often I've found it encountered in different ways too, like Govinda Gopala Hare Hare. We used to do that. And there's other ones too. There's quite a few different variations, some that call in Radha or Radhe, pulling in the divine feminine aspect again, which is again kind of viewing it as the Shiva and Shakti. Yeah, because there's always the masculine and the feminine aspects of everything in this whole multiverse that we find ourselves in.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say it, and if I can say it, I know you guys can say it, and give it a shot. But if you want to start doing these mantras, they can really, really be life-changing. Don't get discouraged. Write it down on a little card in front of you and just practice over and over and over, and give yourself 6 months, give yourself a year, give yourself as much time as it needs, because it's worth it. It's worth it. Govinda Hare Gopala Hare, He Prabhu Dina Dayala Hare. So if I can do it, you guys can do it.
And she's blushing and she's so cute. Yes, Govinda Hare Gopala Hare, He Prabhu Dina Dayala Hare. And just float with it. And then we have probably the most, or one of the most famous people doing it over here, Krishna Das. And again, if you listen to him, does he have the most beautiful harmonic resonant voice you've ever heard? Probably not, but he has the heart, and he has the energy, and he has the love, and he is super, super popular. He's got, you can see Krishna Das music, 995,000 views. Krishna Das music, 35 million views. Yeah, absolutely, because you could feel the energy that he gives off. He loves it. It's changed his life, absolutely. And when we do these mantras, it's like we're taking our own little plug and plugging it into the electric socket of baby Krishna and young Krishna, and drawing their energy, their feelings, their emotions, their ways into our life. And then we can utilize their divine aspects in our own existence. And often in these times especially, who couldn't use a little bit more levity, a little bit more playfulness, a little bit more having fun, maybe even just a tad mischief. Just a little bit of mischief that's not so harmful, like maybe, going into the cookie jar once or twice. Just make sure they're non-GMO cookie jars.
Indeed, non-GMO.
As always, guys, thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.